So for number 8, for part A, the first thing I notice is that this expression on the bottom, 2x to the 22nd, is in parentheses, and then it's being raised to the 0 power. Anything to the 0 power just equals the number 1. So we can go ahead and replace that whole thing with just the number 1. And then 4x to the 18th divided by 1 would just be 4x to the 18th, because dividing by 1 keeps the number the same. So that's our final answer. We can't simplify it any further than that. For B, everything's next to each other. So this is all just a big multiplication problem. And when you're multiplying, you can change the order. So I'm actually going to reorder things first. So like my s's, I'm going to just write next to each other. So s to the 4th times x to the 7th, I'm going to put those next to each other. Then I'm going to put the t's next to each other. This one's just a t without an exponent written. That means that it's a t to the 1st power. So I'm going to write it that way. And then we have the t to the -1. And then we just have a u to the 2nd power. Now, s to the 4th times s to the 7th. When we're multiplying and we have the same base, they're both s's, as a shortcut, we can just add the exponents together. So that's going to give us s to the 11th. We can use the same shortcut with the t's, but when we add 1 and -1, we get 0. So we get t to the 0 power, and then we still have our u squared. But remember, we said anything to the 0 power is really just 1. So this is s to the 11th times 1 times u squared. And multiplying by 1 doesn't do anything, so we could just write it as s to the 11th u to the 2nd. And that's as much as we can simplify there. And then for part C, with this one, I think what I'm going to do first is simplify what's inside the parentheses, because this w has a negative exponent, and that means that I want to rewrite this as a fraction and move the w to the denominator on the bottom. So the 3 isn't going to move because it doesn't have a negative exponent. The 3 is still going to be on the top, but the w will move to the bottom, and when we do that, the exponent becomes positive. So we have 3 over w squared, but then we still have everything being raised to the 4th power. Now, I'm going to do the 4th power part. So because we have parentheses, it means everything in here gets raised to the 4th. So 3 to the 4th power is 3 times 3 times 3 times 3, and that ends up being 81. And then w to the 2nd to the 4th power, when something already has an exponent and then you raise it to another power, so a power to a power, that's where our shortcut is to multiply the exponents. So 2 times 4 gives us 8 as the new exponent. So that's our final answer, 81 over w to the 8th power. And then for this last one, we just have m to the -3rd power. So again, because we have a negative exponent, we have to rewrite as a fraction. And the m to the 3rd is going to move to the denominator, and then the exponent won't be negative anymore. But there's nothing else here, like we don't have anything to write on the top, and when that happens, we just put a 1 on top as like a placeholder. So we have 1 over m to the 3rd.